Hello and welcome to Mandatory Fun Time Channel. I am your host Shagitto, and I am here with Zarny.
What up?
And today, we are back with some more world building ramblings. Today we are continuing on with the timeline, touching on some important things before we start actually world building in the Daggerheart era. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of got to build it up to that point. I think makes the most sense.
Yeah, we'll have some like fixed. My whole thing is like, hey, I'm gonna be giving away a lot of like lore and story, major events in this like world, and like people playing Daggerheart, that's whatever. But if you're in the actual D&D era or the Shadowdark era, you might feel a little off put because you know what's gonna happen. But my whole thing is like from what we talked about last time with the alternate timelines, bro. Maybe your D&D group is the one that changes the timeline to where the breach never happens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's definitely a possibility, but I want it to start off as a base with the foundation with the breach actually happening, things going on in the Shadowdark, and then going on to the Daggerheart era. Right. And that will be like, the core base foundation of my world and everything. But, through play, hopefully in the years to come through play, people change the timeline.
If they can stay alive long enough, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I'm a pretty ruthless.
If they're bad enough,
ruthless DM, as they say.
Ruthless dice, more like it, man.
Yeah. My gosh.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what episode we're on. I forget. I'm still editing.
You just posted 4?
Yeah, I just posted 4.
Yeah.
And by the way, the quality is going to get better. That was from I think December. I think it was like December or so.
Yeah.
But come a long way as far as video quality and sound quality. Fun fact: I never recorded episode 5.
Really?
Really, and I was really
was it bugged or something, or did I don't remember what
I have no idea why I didn't. All I know is like you guys got to the tavern and you started bullshitting for like 3 hours, I believe, like two hours probably.
It was like a purely RP session, like the whole session.
Yeah,
pretty
in
much.
The tavern and everything, and I was just sitting there, just taking it all in. I barely said anything. I'm just like, this is great. I should go make some popcorn. But yeah. So I'm really sorry about that. It's been a learning experience with Streamlabs and with
for sure.
With everything. This is my first rodeo, as they would say, So, self-taught through YouTube. Shit, son. That's how
man.
we do.
Free school.
But all right, as you guys can see here, what I got up on the screen, which I don't think I am letting Zarny see. I mean, none.
Yeah, and throw yourself up in Discord too, like you did. Whatever you did last time worked great.
Yeah, that's right. I hate that I can't have like that. You guys can't see me. I don't know. Maybe it's probably something on my end that I have to figure out. But I have spent probably about 4 hours trying to figure it out.
I don't know.
Idea. Yeah. That one. Cool. All right.
I could build a website with HTML when I was 15, but all this stuff is like, I might as well be blind.
Yeah. I remember like when I was 13 or 14 and I made my first website through like one of those generic website makers, and like you start to learn code and you
like
put
Zoom,
things,
Zoom.com.
Yeah,
that's what I did. Yeah.
It was funny, dude. I'm just like, because I was playing Quake and I would make clans in Quake, and then I'd have like a little website for us and stuff.
Yeah, I was hosting Diablo 1 trainers and hacks and stuff.
Oh, sick, dude. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on
topic
here. Okay, so what we have here is not failure to communicate, but we have a little bit of a timeline going. We have a lot of notes for we don't have a lot of notes. We have some notes for the Breach, Shadowdark, and Daggerheart that we're going over and then expanding upon. So last time we came up with 6 dragons. The council are made up of reps from different areas. The different area has reps for each race, so easy thing to come up with as far as like, hey, how's the government kind of going with this, with the councils and the dragon kings and shit. I had asked Zarny an important question though that I wanted to kind of think about real quick. Is like, hey, if we have dragons as kings, like, would bad guys still exist? Would there still be like, things going on?
I have your answer.
Oh, okay, cool. Because
I thought about it.
All right, yeah,
I had a really good shower thought yesterday, and then on my way to work, which I like to walk to work because it just helps me like,
oh yeah, for
clear
sure.
my head.
Yeah.
I thought about it some more, and whenever you're ready for it, man, I've got a pretty what I think is a decent idea how to wrap that all in.
Okay, cool, sick, dude. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so right, the question is why would a bunch of dragons need adventurers to help them with anything?
Yeah.
Because they're dragons. Well, what if there was another dragon, a seventh dragon, who's been corrupted by the greed from the whole beginning, right? And he couldn't turn the other kings or maybe queens, we haven't really talked about that, to his side. So perhaps that dragon is working in the shadows with Azagul. And the dragons, they know about this, but they don't want to give the other any attention or reason to pay them attention and gain a foothold anywhere in their realms. So they use adventurers to seek out and work as unknowing spies so they can keep tabs on the corruption. But eventually, we all know they're taken by the corruption. And what it does, though, is therefore the corruption is more intentional. It's not just, whoops, this happened and they're corrupted. It's intentional because there's another dragon working with Azagul. And then we can use the astral plane overlap that you were talking about to instead explain magic. And that was purposely done by the original dragons by drawing it near to allow its magic to flow into the world as a way to protect themselves from this other dragon in Azagul in the first place. It can also be used as a way to explain all kinds of other things and phenomenon that are not caused by the other dragon in Azagul. What do you think?
So you're saying the astral plane was created by the dragons, or at least the breach?
Wasn't created. The event, the breach event that we're going to use, like we had said, like that there was the astral plane come in contact with the mortal realm and started the corruption and greed. I was going to say that the corruption and greed is intentional by this other dragon in Azagul in the first place, and that the breach with the astral plane still happened, but it was intentionally done by the Council of Dragons a long, long time ago to bring magic into the world so they could use it to protect themselves against the corruption of this other dragon in Azagul.
Yeah, I don't know. I like what you got going on here. I just want to modify it a little bit. Like this is
yeah, of course.
So I don't know. So the way that I was thinking in the very beginning was, so hey, friggin' these dragons, man, they're all of a sudden wanting to be kings. They would probably be like, hey, we will make a special crown for each of us that will like diminish our powers, so that way we can be your rulers or some BS, something like that. But I really like your idea a lot better. It makes more sense as, hey, these dragons aren't all good. I mean, we're aware of that in D&D, that there's bad dragons and shit. So maybe there are a lot of bad dragons in there, but there is one specific ancient dragon that is evil, that is working with the God Eater.
Yeah.
To get into that world. And what I'm thinking is like, hey, maybe the dragons created the breach into the astral plane, right? As a way to get the magic, but it was a trap. They were all lied to by someone or something. And it wasn't to get them more magic. It was to open up the breach for the god to come through. Like, this isn't just something like a normal person ritual could like do. It would need the magic and power of dragons, multiple ones.
Oh, I like that. I think that's cool. I think that's really cool.
Okay. Okay, why do the dragons need adventurers? Because there are...
So I can send you what I wrote so that you can modify it if you want.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll copy paste it in here and then just move it all around and stuff. Okay, cool. Yo, I like that. That adds a lot more conflict to the world. It's not a peaceful world. There's a lot of dangers going on because of the other dragons who are evil and are probably doing their own sort of ruling over different species trying to, start wars and shit. Yeah.
Why did it smash that all together? I
I
don't know if that copied right. I don't know if it copied right. I don't know. Discord is weird when you try to do stuff like this sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Especially copying. Oh, just so you know, copying from OneNote to Discord is not a thing unless you want that like picture text. A picture of the text. Yeah, you got to like copy it, put it into Notepad or something, and then bring it over.
Okay, I haven't started using the OneNote thing yet, so
yeah, because they're like they're dragons. Yeah, the seventh dragon who ruled them all. And
because I remember like one of the questions that we had was that we needed to work on mana or magic, like how there's magic in the world, and I thought that would help explain that using the breach for that.
The breach. Yeah, the astral plane stuff.
And they could have done that a long time ago and got the benefits of the magic while unknowingly, slowly, this corruption is seeping in behind their backs. Like it's a slow burn over time.
Mm-hmm.
Or did you want it to be like a cataclysmic event?
I kind of wanted it to be a cataclysmic event.
It could build up to a cataclysmic event.
Yeah. It's true. I'm not sure. It has been corrected by greed from the start. Could not turn the kings and queens
potentially
to his side. Oh yeah, for sure. Perhaps he is working in the shadows. Yeah, let's do that. He is working in the shadows. Azugul. The dragons know about this, but they don't give the other any attention or reason. Pay them attention and gain foothold in the realms. So they use adventurers to seek out and works as unknowing spies.
Yeah, because that gives you an angle where like anytime the dragons are asking adventurers to do things, the adventurers may or may not know that like there's another like bigger reason behind what they're doing, so they might think they're going to like search for a lost caravan, but really it's like connected to other things, so there could be some intrigue there or a way to put some intrigue into things. It's like, oh, and actually, yeah, it's like, oh, retrieve this caravan, it's a simple deal, but really it's like they might die or come back with other information that's tied to what's going on. And that way it's like a way for the Dragon Council to like be hands off from this corruption that they already kind of know about, but still interact with it, but not directly, to keep tabs on things and to also try to affect it and keep it at bay.
Yeah, okay, I like that. It's like a Dragon King secret that they're all doing their part, not trying to show their hand.
Yeah, totally.
So they use you are taken and is more intentional. Yes. And we can use the astral plane to overlap. Explain magic. Driven. Flow into the world.
But I like the idea of them being duped by doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be
that's
like
really cool.
Yeah. I gotta think though. So, yeah, about
it's a lot to digest because I just had a big old brain explosion.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's when like the best thoughts come out though. Like
I know.
This is great. I like this a lot better than my idea as far as like, oh, a special crown or something. But so I like this. I like that they know what's going on and they are trying to like juggle and balance a lot of shit as rulers and all that. And I'm sure like in the beginning when they knew about this, they're like, hey, we dragons would like to rule over y'all to protect you. Kind of like wanting to get ahead of it before it becomes a problem and trying to figure it out, try to stop it, that kind of thing. But
yep.
So as far as the astral plane, I don't know, man. I do like them being duped into doing it. And then the explanation of magic. I don't know, dude. I want it to be like Not necessarily like we joked about. We're like, yeah, they just eat stuff and then they poop out mana crystals, but like, but I wanted like dragons to be an integral part of the whole world, like throughout the ages and everything, and not just like I said before, some manipulative or good, supreme power in the world that's just off guarding a hoard of gold and not interacting with society or the world or anything.
Totally.
So, um,
because that's typically how it goes down. You know what I mean? Like, I think I've maybe interacted with like 2 dragons ever in Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of times it's because you don't really get to. A lot of games don't get to a point where players are powerful enough to really want to fight dragons. Or, but like if you're lucky when you're lower level, you might have the opportunity to meet with a dragon who's not gonna just eat you. That might be able to help you if you give them what they want.
Yeah, for sure.
That's seems more common at lower levels than just fighting dragons.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, man. I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to have dungeons and I want to have dragons. So,
Yeah.
I just like I said, I want them to be something more than just like an enemy, Like it's cool fighting dragons, but I just want them to do more than that. So yeah, man, I really like that. I like that we can use the astral plane. In that way, they can get duped to doing it. Just in the beginning, though, like there's gods, obviously, and there's dragons. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right. And how do we deal with that? Would think that the gods would have some say in whether or not dragons were to rule over the mortal peoples. How does that relationship look?
Yeah. How does that relationship look?
And I guess what it comes down to is how big do you want your pantheon to be? Right?
Right.
Because the more gods you have vying for whatever they're doing, the more complicated that gets.
Yeah, so I don't know. I want to kind of stay true to the Dungeons Master's Guide, and they have a bunch of gods in there, and they're Dawn of War deities. Yeah, so they have like gods like Asmodeus. They have Vecna.
Yep.
Bahamut. Yeah, Bahamut and Bane. All that stuff.
Yes, sir. We like all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to lose this. I like all of these gods, and I want them to be in the D&D pantheon, like during the era. And like I said, some of them don't make it. Some of them die. And it'll be up to the players to like maybe they become a champion of one of these gods and save them or something during the D&D era.
Right. Okay.
So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 gods. 20 gods come to the world. And then they create the races, the peoples.
The peoples.
We could have
been the gods first then?
Yeah, I think we'll go with the gods first. And maybe they were all kind of neutral in the beginning, and after they've created their peoples, their races and everything, they switched up. Like they because of their worshippers, they might have been influenced in some way, and some of them became bad and some of them became good dragons. Gods, I'm sorry. Good and bad gods.
And what about if maybe the gods created the dragons first?
Yeah.
And they created the dragons to aid them in building the universe that they wanted.
The world, yeah, that they wanted.
Yeah, so the dragons were kind of like the first people of the worlds.
Yeah.
And because they helped the gods, when the gods got to creating all the other peoples and races, they're like, well, because you helped us and because you're so noble, we'll allow you to rule over them so that we don't have to be hands-on all the time.
Right. That's not bad. I don't know. That's not a bad idea. I like that the gods created the dragons to help create the world and the peoples.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really good. Because so in the Daggerheart playtest, which I am going to hold as fact. Where is it? There it is. So in this, let me switch on over to that right now. I can figure out all the stuff. There it is. Boop. Stop. All right, so these core realms, right? And I'm gonna definitely do this. It'll be I will definitely have these 3 realms for Daggerheart, and I will just modify them a little bit. But there's gonna be a mortal realm, a hallows above, and the circles below. So mortal realm, heaven, hell. The hollows above are a collection of realms where many gods reside, having been claimed by the new gods at the end of the earliest age. Because this place is closely connected with most other realms, the gods here can see and speak with the people of the mortal realm without leaving their realm. Though their methods of communication may appear strange or I don't know how to say that word, it's too big. To those they choose to engage with, there are ways to which the gods can leave the hollows above to occupy other realms, but they must always sacrifice something of importance to them to do so. It's rumored that the sacrifice is the cause behind some of the great calamities that have befallen the mortal realm. So I like that little tidbit. I also like the fact, like, hey, this kind of like helps us in our world building, where it's just like, yeah, the gods came here and they created dragons on the world to physically be there and do the things, and do the things that the gods want.
Okay, that's cool. And I like this whole having to make a sacrifice to communicate, like to come there in person. Yeah. And that's part of what causes a lot of problems. You can tie that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm just going to write that down. They must sacrifice to... All right, cool. The other thing about that, which just so I've already rewritten the mortal realm, which most adventures are likely to take place in the mortal realm, right? This is the land, sea, and sky of the world, where mortals live out the entirety of their lives. The plane where all material beings and objects exist. Stories say this realm, here, let me do this. This realm was created by the forgotten gods during the earliest age. And when they were overthrown by the new gods, many were banished to the realm, and many were banished to remain in this realm eternally. This realm is also occupied by the faint divinities, the more common lesser gods created by both Forgotten and the New to oversee the mortal realm. I have changed this a little bit to fit what I have envisioned for us, but just real quick, the faint divinities. If you guys want to watch some Daggerheart playthrough, like really good, high quality, good sound stuff, go check out the faint divinities. They have the quick start adventure already done. They've gone into homebrew, and it's really entertaining to watch them. So go check them out. As for us, I am going to go up here. There it is. Let me switch on back. So what I have is most adventures are likely to take place in the mortal realm. This is the land, sea, and sky of the world where mortals live out the eternity of their lives, the plane where all material beings and objects exist. Stories say this realm was created by the forgotten gods during their earliest age, and this is where it goes a little different. And when they were overthrown by the newer gods, so came the breach, a 3,000-year invasion from Azagul, the god eater's domain. It ended when the last of the ancient dragons, the faint divinities, and mortal heroes joined to push the breach back and seal it. This realm has healed but changed over time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, gods creating dragons to help create the world. They must sacrifice to physically alter the world in some way. Yeah. All right, so dragons create magic?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Or at least be the reason that it came to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to go with what I had about the astral plane. I kind of like the whole idea. I like the whole idea of them like what you said, that like they were thinking that like bringing the astral plane near so they could draw power from it and give it to people that were adept enough. Was a way to protect themselves and to protect the people. But where they got this idea from could have been from a god that wasn't really good, another god that's working with Azagul. I mean, there's a lot to do there, but I like the idea that they thought they were doing something good, and it was good, right? It did accomplish the intended purpose, but they also didn't realize that they may have been duped, and it was also allowed like basically a way for the corruption to come into the world. And then once the dragons are corrupted enough, that's like think of it like a dam breaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put up a dam and it allows the water to roll through at a desired rate. But if the dam breaks, like, or overflows, it's all over.
Yeah.
So you can still have your cataclysmic event, but at the meantime, there's been a slow increase in corruption, or at least a trickle to some degree the whole time. Like maybe even if it's just a tether, like they opened it up, or they they brought it to contact so they could get power to people and themselves, and then they didn't realize, though, they're just opening a line of communication, air quotes communication or whatever, to the evil beings having an idea of what's going on and having contact with their world.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I just need to
Like, oh, now I can see you, so now I can start planning my fucking big gotcha someday.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Like, yeah, I like that. I just need to like physically put it on a timeline within the first 7,890 years, right? So, like, my thing
Yeah.
is, hey, how long is the Dragon Civil War? Like, when it really like breaks off? Like, how many years is that before the breach happens? You know, stuff like that. And then when do they go for the astral plane for more magic to help the people and them to like push back on the evil dragon and shit?
So the way I was looking at it was the astral plane thing happened early on so that they could have the magic, right? And that people could use magic, or, you know, other species, races, whatever, all the peoples could use magic. Those that, like I said, that were adept enough to do so. And it seemed like all good in the hood. Because what I'm trying to do is explain how magic works or where it comes from in the world, right?
Yeah. Yep.
At the same time. And so the people would believe that the magic comes from the dragons themselves. And in a way, it does, because they did cause this to happen.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So for all intents and purposes, dragons are the reason there's magic in the world. It's just the mechanism they use to do it isn't necessarily completely understood by everybody, but it doesn't really matter because everything's good in the hood, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, except for normal everyday shit, and like some races and stuff aren't super friendly, and small time adventure stuff. Um, and then getting to a point where when they start becoming corrupted themselves, they're like, "What's happening here?" It's because they allowed something else in to have contact and to use that as like an avenue to slowly corrupt them. Then the Civil War happens.
Yeah.
Right. And then what would it be like towards the end of the Civil War is when it all goes down for the breach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we get a little cheeky and we say like, hey, this astral plane thing happened in the year 1999. Then from there it was all downhill. But I'm saying like during this course, man, like I'm trying to think of like realistically, like these people have gods and dragons. They are going to be, building, trying to find structure, governments, stuff like that. All this is going to take a long time as they, continue to populate the world and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe around 1999, the dragons were like, we are not strong enough to do what we really need to for this civilization of different species to really thrive. And that's when somehow they get the word of like, let's connect to, well, they know that the gods are in a different realm. So they're like, let's connect to a different realm to bring in magic abilities. Instead of them being gods, they're magic users,
Yeah. And I think that doing it early on works best, like what you're saying, like 1999-ish, right? Like I think that works best because then, like, 1,000 years from then, 2,000 years from then, people are not gonna know, because this is generations gone by.
Yeah.
People aren't gonna know that the dragons did this thing. That lore could be kind of lost and buried in tomes in history. They're just gonna think that the dragons give them magic.
Yeah.
And it also helps the dragons really establish their authority over the world.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Maybe they become king, or they start to become kings after the astral plane is introduced and magic is flooded into the world. And they're like, we bring you magic, so we're gonna rule over you.
Or like,
now.
the gods have bestowed us with magic to bestow upon you. So it's kind of like what the church did back in the day, where it's like, oh, if you want to talk to God, you got to go through me. The gods give me power to give to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that. All right. 1999 is when the astral plane is connected to the mortal realm. This floods in magic. The dragons tell the peeps that
Listen,
through
peeps.
through the gods, or through them to the gods, something like that. They brought the world.
And that accomplishes a lot of things all at once.
Right. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add music to this. Everyone's just listening to us in
Wait,
silence.
so the music I'm hearing is not. That's just in my head.
That is in your head, because I don't think I have music going.
I got a problem. I'm just telling you.
Dude, I was just like, oh no, am I playing something? Like shit. Let's see. Sometimes the second one, as long as it's not too loud. What's the second one? Nope. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Sorry about this. I'm just gonna add music so that way it's not like silence in between fucking.
It's all good, man.
between us talking and stuff. I meant to do this earlier, but I completely forgot. Doop. See if I can do this. Music. So, what else? While I'm getting this all set up, what else do we need to think about before we move on to the breach? Like,
I think a lot of things are going to just pop up, and we're going to always have to hop back and add more things to all this. Because I feel like every time we come up with something, then I start thinking of more questions that are related to that. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it'll. What was I? So, so the main things we at the end of our last conversation about this was the main thing that we needed to figure out was how magic became a thing, or how magic was a thing. And I think that this kind of wraps that up. And it's also covers what started the corruption and greed. Now, also a point I would make is that this dragon's doing this. They're doing it. It's I can't think of the word right now because I've only been awake for like a half hour. But they're doing this as like a noble thing, right?
Yeah.
But they're also doing it for themselves to kind of establish their seat of power and how they want to rule, which they have every right to do, right? But it's also kind of like a little bit below board, like just a little bit. So this is like the first thing that the dragons collectively do that's like not entirely 110% honest.
Yeah. Okay.
So it shows a little weakness, a little tiny shred of weakness of character where you can go, oh yeah, like if they're doing a good thing, but they're not telling the people, hey, we're doing this thing with the astral plane and to get power from the gods to protect us from this thing that we know could happen. So it's like almost like the first little sign of like a little bit of moral fluidity where they could be corrupted. They're not perfect. They're not, omnipotent beings.
Yeah.
And they obviously don't think anything of it because they believe that they're doing what's best for everything.
Yes, yeah. Dragons. Died. In order to connect. Plane. Okay.
Because you got to look at it like it's not like the bad guys in any story just sit around and wait for a good guy to come by and poke them with a stick, So you gotta think bad forces, evil forces. As soon as there's a shift and the dragons go and take power from the astral plane, connected to the gods, however exactly that looks, the big bads they're gonna notice something's going on, and they're gonna go, oh, well, if I just plant a bug in that rip in the continuum real quick and just kick back and listen and watch and see what's going on, I might have a foothold on this world someday. Just gonna leave it there and watch till later. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So they wouldn't have even noticed what they were really doing because they're dragons. They're powerful, but they're not gods.
That's true.
They were the gods' first creation.
Yeah. They were the chosen ones.
The chosen.
Okay. Cool. I think this is good here. And we'll come back
it's
to
got
it.
some meat to it.
Yeah. And then like after this, we can place the actual Civil War later on, like closer to 7,000. And, maybe even after that, it takes another 800 years or something before the breach is actually opened. But that's something we can kind of finalize later on down the road.
Yeah, maybe, the Civil War ends. They're like, oh, we got to stop. We got to stop it. We got to rebuild everything. We're like screwing everything up here, dude. This is really bad. And just as they think they're about to like turn things around and new alliances are formed and treaties are signed and all this stuff is going down, dude, it's already too late. And it's just like, boom. Moment of weakness.
Yeah, dude. Maybe Yeah, dude. Yeah, I like that because I believe like during like when the breach happens, like the lead up to that, magic is dissipating in the world because the God Eater is getting in the way of it or something, or like feeding off of it before.
Almost like an eclipse. He's almost eclipsing the connection, getting closer and closer with his time to strike.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Ooh, I just pictured that, and it was so cool in my head.
Yeah. Near the end.
Yeah, because a world like this is being ran by dragons and has a large amount of magic being used and pulled from the other parts of the universe. Like, that's going to be a big freaking beacon to
absolutely.
Who someone called the God Eater.
Yes, the God Eater.
You know,
dissipates at closer to the mortal. Okay, cool. And then again, just for anyone that's watching, if you got some ideas, throw them out there. If you want to donate them, and we will definitely entertain those thoughts and maybe put them in here. Yeah. Okay, the breach.
Das Breach.
Now, where is my notepad?
I don't know, but this high contrast black notepad is rad because then when I highlight something, it's in like cyan and it's like really easy to read. This is great.
Nice. Oh yeah.
I'm like, why can't everything be like this? Just dark tones, so I'm not being blinded.
Yeah, I try to do that with everything. Even OneNote, you can change the page color itself. So, as you can see.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's great.
Okay, so we are in the breach now, which is the first, I guess, cataclysmic event of the world. Starts a 3,000 year fucking hellscape, man. Fucking nightmare creatures. All right, so this is what we had written down. Due to the low amount of magic from the mass deaths of the dragons, dark outside entities begin to creep into the world from another dimension. The abomination god, Azagul. The abomination god. Okay, the God Eater. And then we should come up with some other titles for him. AKA
he should have a bunch of different names.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
He's got to be bad. Is bad.
Several titles. All right, the abomination.
Do you want to just read this whole thing and then go over point by point, or do you want to go point by point?
I just want to read over this and then we'll restructure it by point.
Okay. I'll just make little asterisks when I have an idea about something, and then we'll run it back.
Okay, cool. So Azagul influences the lives of the mortals. Actually, this is all changed now because we've come up with the new stuff. So the lives of, I guess, mortals. Yeah, mortals and dragons. Dragons are mortals, but it is what it is.
Well, the mortals are going to follow whatever the dragons are doing at the time, right?
Yeah.
So
by deceiving them.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and they deceive them to allow itself into their world. For 3,000 years, every horrific nightmare-fueled thought became a reality. Insert how they were defeated, which we'll go over later. Okay,
this deceiving them thing is exactly what we're talking about. It's that trick of the astral plane thing that the dragons did.
Yeah.
They were deceived. So this actually matches up really well, in a way.
Yeah,
that way right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We talked a little bit at the end last time about a time traveler, perhaps from a different timeline where the breach never happened.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
We can hash that out eventually because time travel is always kind of spooky, but
right. I think that I don't think that's going to be like a common thing. I think it's going to be like a special NPC or something, and those would be like really cool kind of mini
very
campaigns.
Rare encounters.
Yeah.
Okay.
If people want to play that
stuff. What's that? Like a time runner campaign. What do they call it? That's not what I'm thinking. But yeah. Anyway. So up here where it says due to low amount of magic from the mass deaths of the dragons, right?
Right.
Well, we talked about the magic starting to be affected because the God Eater is essentially, not physically, but like in a sense, like eclipsing the flow of power through this breach through the astral plane, right?
Yeah.
But everybody else in the world is gonna think that it's because dragons are dying in the Civil War. Because remember, this is so much later after they did the breach that people don't even remember. Like, history doesn't remember that the dragons did a thing. Everybody just believes they get their magic from the dragons, and the dragons like it just fine that way because it gives them ultimate authority, which is also part of their corruption.
Yes.
They kind of start liking that ultimate authority, right?
Yeah.
So people would still believe it's because the dragons are dying. And so there's going to be plenty of mortals in the world that are like, no. Like, we're protesting this Civil War. It's a bad idea. More dragons are dying. We're losing our power, right? And so it can create all kinds of stuff there. So people would still believe that it's due to the deaths of the dragons because it's been so long since the dragons did that shit.
Yeah, I like that. So, closer into the coming closer to the mortal realm, blocking the flow of magic. You ever see like the what was it? Not the Fifth Element with Bruce Willis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't remember that movie full length. I just like the penguin-looking aliens. But when I believe the one guy is being like possessed by some sort of darkness, right? The great enemy or something. And that's kind of like how I pictured this guy, is just like slowly coming into the world. But everything's lining up for him, right? The closer he gets, the more fucking the more ability he has in making the mortals do what he wants. The more influence he has on the world, the closer he gets, and then he starts blocking the mana as well, and that's when the breach happens. And blah.
Because you would have to think like that's what would happen, right? Like, as there's a civil war going on. So people are going to be displaced, disheveled, like everything's going to, there's going to be a lot of chaos. So people's morale is going to already be low. And when people's morale is low, they're more easily corrupted, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's like with the Bogles, right? Almost. With the Bogles, they're like, they act like they're sad when you hurt them and they try to make you feel bad. They try to create a weakness, but this weakness is allowing itself to just get over, like to exponentiate, to like dominoes falling as he gets closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
By the time he gets there, people are like really not having a great time.
Straight up not having a good time, bro.
Straight up.
Okay. Yes. Due to Azagul, the Nation God, aka the God Eater, aka something else. Like that. Alright, cool. So we got that.
And so
go on.
Dark outside entities begin to creep into the world from another dimension, right? Well, this is definitely going to happen. But also, I think there's a high potential for less dubious, more dubious, I don't remember how to use that word. People to be like, oh, well, yeah, dude, no, we're starting a cult. We're worshiping this guy. We're bad guys now because the world's screwed. This dude's coming in. He's the God Eater. Like, no, we worship him. So there could be cult factions and other reasons for,
absolutely, dude,
to try to go back in that timeline and shut things down.
Yeah, all he has to do is just be like, listen, I'm coming to save y'all from the dragons and the gods.
They lied to you. Right?
Yeah,
Come with me.
Yep.
And then what that does for Shadowdark and Daggerheart is it allows there to be remnants of these cults.
Yep, absolutely.
That still need to be sought out in the world because they want to bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that
back then when we had the power.
Yeah, right? I actually thought of that the other day as to what happens in the Shadowdark, at the end of the Cataclysm. or at the end of that era and everything for the Cataclysm, and I'm just like, they're probably gonna bring back, the God Eater, and there's gonna be cults for him and everything. But that's where, you heard me say earlier in the Mortal Realm description up here where I was talking about friggin'. It ended when the last of the ancient dragons, the faint divinities, and mortal heroes joined to push the breach back and seal it. So, yeah. No. This happens during the breach. This happens during the breach, and then remnants, like you said, though, come back and try to bring him back and reopen the breach. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Well, because you're looking at what is the next world-ending event and how do we get there?
Yeah, well, that's for Daggerheart. Well, yeah, that could be. I don't know. I don't want to go like too big into the Daggerheart lore because that's where I'm going to be playing a lot of games for in the near future. It's like a bunch of Daggerhearts and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't want to give away too much. I want to like well, we'll get to that later. So I don't want to go into like what's the world building event yet for Daggerheart. I just want to start world building it from this history and this timeline that we've come up with. But locking the flow of magic. Yeah. Then breach happened. And for 3,000 years, 3K years, horrible abominations, dark creations came into the world and created a landscape. Meow. Yeah. All right. Cool. I like that. In regards to this breach area, so the way that I'm thinking of it is like, what does Azagul like look like on the mortal realm? Like, it doesn't have to be the same thing as him in the astral plane. He could be a shapeshifter, but like, what would be his dominant like kind of form or his preferred form, like in the mortal realm? Like, is it something? Oh, yeah. If you think of like Diablo 2, something like Tal Rasha coming through. Or is it more of a humanoid kind of appearance? Or does he look like some sort of like lich dragon? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, well, because people already think very highly of dragons, him using a dragon form of some sort would be advantageous to him. I guess you have to decide how charismatic and intelligent this guy is, and I would guess very.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that he would want to present himself in a way that would implore people to him and make them trust him, or try to, except for the people that are obviously smart enough to know what's going on and they're like, hell no. So I was picturing like his astral form I was thinking of him like a magic eating black hole, like nightmare creature made of body parts and creepy shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously,
oh dude, he could. So let's lean into the God Eater aspect of him. All right. Yeah. So like every time he eats a god, I'm sure I picked this up from a video game or a show. I can't remember what it was, but every time he eats a god, it like changes his body in a really gross way. Like you can kind of like see the head and stuff like kind of form on him.
Oh yeah.
Like he doesn't grow another head, but the god's face like appears, and maybe he gets another limb or an arm or like tentacles and shit like that.
Yeah, and he's like he's a total abomination, right? Like,
yeah, he's just made up of like what he once was, which is long forgotten, and now he is just basically a corpse fucking a god corpse fucking monstrosity where he has all of these tentacles and arms and shit and all of these different eyes popping on his body.
Yeah, and I was like, as he's traveling around in different planes and stuff, I kind of pictured him like having this like almost like weird black hole effect around him where it looks like his like sucking in light, like he has gravity.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But I think if he was to come to the world, I guess it would depend on the time, right? Like, obviously, if you want to just like take everything down all at once, you would just pop through like that, like,
yeah,
and just start blasting, right? But if there was ever a time where he would, like, maybe that's how the cults start. Maybe he comes through and has more of like what a human would want a god warrior or hero to look like, you know, like you said, he might be a shapeshifter of some sort. Like he would present himself in a way that the humans would, or that people would react positively to. So either like a benevolent dragon with like maybe some kind of weird things about him though, still, because he can't make himself perfect.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know.
Or like an angel of some sort.
Yeah, I would try to go the angel route with this because I feel like he's going to use the fact that these dragons and fucking gods just fucking failed them, right? So I think going in a different way other than a dragon or like a typical god would be good. So you would see him like more of a dark angel, basically. Like someone that stands like maybe 8 or 9 feet, but he is like beautiful, basically, like long dark hair, and stuff like that. And his appearance is something that's like basically easy on the eyes. Like you want to look at him for some reason.
Yeah. I dig that. Oh, this is all crazy. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. When it comes to the mortal realms, he shapeshifts to something or into angel. Or, we can maybe it turns into a female, like a beautiful female dark angel,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit. This isn't a sausage party, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right, when it comes
not there's anything wrong with sausage.
Yeah.
I like a good andouille.
I'll just say he, but really it's in and it, and then when he comes,
it's more of an entity. But
entity. When it comes through, I'll change all this later. When it comes through the mortal realms, it shapeshifts into a beautiful female angel. Female dark angel. Okay, cool. I like that. Yeah. And then we'll go into details of that like later on, like black hair, how long, stuff like that. Like maybe her hair is like actually all the way down to like her knees and stuff, and she's just this, I don't know, like.
What if she appears differently to everybody based on their own moral alignment and personality? But nobody realizes that, really. They're just like, they all just agree she's beautiful, but no one's talking about the details of like, she's kind of mirroring people to themselves in a way, like mirroring someone's personality and interests and likes and dislikes and hopes and wants, like through her essence.
I like that a lot. I like thinking like this entity would be able to quickly do a surface thought scan, detect thoughts, basically.
Yeah.
And will alter her form to be appeasing to the people the person or people that are looking at her. So overall, like she's basically a, like a very tall female dark angel, that angel will have different details depending on the people that look at her.
Yeah, like it's from the observer's perspective. It's not like one person's going to be looking at her and then she's going to shapeshift to talk to somebody else right in front of them.
Yeah,
it's
right.
from the person viewing's perspective.
Yeah,
nobody has any idea this is going on. I think that gives a little character to the forum too.
Hey. Oh no, I see her. Yeah. Thank you. You want to show your nails off to the people? We just did her nails.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
Got sparklies and shit.
Oh, you gotta have the sparklies.
Sparklies. All right. Let's see. It detects thoughts on people to slightly change its appearance to be more appeasing to them, but it's them see this, not actually physically change. Okay, cool.
And you could even say that in reality, Asgul's just like lording over this place, being present like in its normal form, but nobody sees that. Not even the dragons.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It goes all the way, yeah.
Have you ever watched the movie I think it's the Facility or the Faculty, where an alien comes along and starts infecting everyone except for like, you know, some misfits in high school, and then they band together. There's like you find out who the queen of the monsters are, and it is like a massive slug-like creature that's aquatic, and it's like the size of a school bus or something like that. But like in the human form, she's this just petite little, you know, nice person, and that's how I kind of view this, as like this female dark angel is just coming around and being like, wow, that's a tall bitch, you know, but still like very beautiful and just like appeasing to look at. But in like reality, it just turns into this most nightmarish like thing that you've ever seen. Like it causes minor madness when you look at its true form.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh man, yeah, the breach is messed up. Messed up. Also, I did just have a thought about this time traveler, Mr. Bombadil guy.
Bombadil. I don't know.
It's from another book, Tom Bombadil.
Oh, I'm aware of Tom.
I don't know. But so if he's from a different timeline where the breach never happened, right? Maybe he's from a timeline where the breach is going to, maybe he's from like Daggerheart, right? And the breach is gonna happen in Daggerheart because it never happened in his timeline back in the day. So he figures out how to time travel to go back to like Shadowdark.
Yeah.
Or he goes back to D&D to try the D&D era to try to check it. It's like, oh, the breach is about to happen. Okay, no, I gotta go forward in time. And he ends up in Daggerheart. And he's like, yo, we gotta stop this breach thing. And they're like, yo, that already happened. Right?
Right.
And he's like, what? No, it's happening right now. And they're like, no, that was a long time ago, man. Like, we're good. We got this mana tree. Like, it's all good. He's like, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Just thinking.
No, I do like that as the reason why he's time traveling, is because somehow, some way, he is aware that what's about to happen to him has happened before. Maybe he tries to go into the future, and I don't know. I don't know how to properly do two different timelines knowing about each other. So I'll have to like really think about that. But I do like the idea of like that's why he's time traveling, is he's trying to stop the breach in his timeline.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like time travel, like I said, is always really spooky and not easy to deal with. So if it's something you don't want to do, I will not be offended. I just thought it would be wild, but it would be a lot of work to make it right, you know, to make it make sense and to make it be You know what I mean? Because we're already dealing with multiple timelines, and where things from those timelines can affect the other timelines. Then you add a time traveler on top of that. That makes it even more difficult. So it might just not be a very practical thing to do.
Yeah. I know, I was thinking about like the wish spell and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a person who had a wish spell and he wished that the breach never happened. But it didn't change anything around him. It just put him in a
different timeline.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's actually really good. Yeah. That, because then you don't have to explain why there's two separate timelines. Oh well, you could also explain another timeline because the breach is like the big moment of the breach caused another timeline to happen.
Yeah.
But I like it being this guy's fault.
Yeah.
Just this one dude's fault. He's just messing around with wish spells. That's what you get, right?
Yeah. I don't know. That makes me think of Lavos from Chrono Trigger. Like, this breach is going to happen, and the breach is Lavos, and all that shit. And in Chrono Trigger, you can go to different timelines to fight him. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Which is fun.
I don't know. Like, that game did time travel so good. I loved it. I love that game. I'm actually going to be replaying it and probably streaming it maybe this year or next, but like as a tribute for my mom. Because when I was growing up, I would play those games and she'd watch me, and that's how like we kind of bonded. When I was like from like 9 to 11 basically. So
yeah.
I'll do like little tribute streams for Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI. There's a couple other ones I can't remember, but there's like 4 or 5 games we played together, and it was really fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so maybe this wish spell causes this. We'll explore that later on. But we kind of have a good idea of Azagul now as he comes into this world, but we have to answer a big question as to, hey, why is it still ongoing, 3,000 years later? Like, why didn't he just come in and just friggin' smash everything within the first couple of years and like ruled over it? So we have to think of like basically a resistance. A resistance.
Yeah. There has to be, because either that or it's just a hellscape for 3,000 years and it's all good in the hood. You know what I mean? But that doesn't give any reason. That doesn't give any reason to for there to be adventures during the breach, unless it's because of this time traveler guy who's trying to stop the breach. So
okay.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay, so you know how in Daggerheart there's a thing called the Faint Divinities, right? They're basically the lesser gods that were created from the Forgotten Gods and the New Gods.
Yep.
Which we need to touch on that again because I completely forgot. As far as like the Forgotten Gods and the New Gods fighting each other, and then all this other shit happening. But
yeah.
So. What I was going to say, I completely forgot because I have ADHD. Yeah, the Faint Divinities. Oh, thanks. So God dang, the lesser common gods, right, that are on the earth. I basically see them as Nephilims, And what I was thinking was, what had happened was the Nephilims or the Faint Divinities banded together. Maybe there was some discourse going on because they were created from 2 different sets of gods. Maybe they were created by the 2 different gods right before the breach or in the beginning of the breach to help the mortal realm push back. And with these faint divinities, these could be like some players that just leveled up. Like they're playing this, they have special abilities during this time, and they leveled up to become, max level, and they basically became these lesser gods, right?
Okay.
And with the lesser gods, the faint divinities, some of the mortals helping. The mortal realm is not going to just be like, hey, good luck, we'll watch you from the sidelines. Like, they're going to be, in on this too, trying to fight back. Of course, not all of them, because we discussed cults and shit like that. So we got the faint divinities, the mortal realms, the good ones, and then we'll have some of the ancient dragons that are still alive come, and as they push it back. They can't figure out how to close the breach. This goes on for 3,000 years. But it is just like going out into a war zone every day.
It goes from a civil war, so it ends the civil war because we can't have a civil war. We've got a bigger problem.
Oh, so yeah, dude. Like at the height of the Civil War, all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah, so the world is weakened. Azagul steps in, starts trying to manipulate people, starts trying to manipulate things. It's a big deal. Corruption sprouting up everywhere. Everybody's like, oh shit, we can't lose any more dragons. We can't, so everybody has to band, like, put shit aside and band together. But what's left is a smaller force. So they have a really hard time keeping Azagul at bay. So it takes forever to even do anything about it, because they also have to rebuild their societies or their society, but they're down to smaller numbers.
Yeah.
So they're able to put up enough fight to like slow the corruption and slow Azagul's gain to power. Meanwhile, trying to rebuild so they have enough to actually push back. So it would take a long time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And I would imagine, like, it's not just Azagul, right? He's coming in he's got lieutenants, captains, shit like that. Like, he's amassed an army of just, like I said, abominations and shit. So when he comes in, all of his lieutenants are going forward and just decimating fucking the mortals and shit. But at some point, with all these people fighting back, there will be times when one of his lieutenants or captains dies, and that creates a power vacuum, and that's where, it's a lot of give and take back and forth over the 3,000 years,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
And spearheads the Dragon Civil War. Yeah, man. Comes in with his LTs and captains. Badass motherfuckers. To lay waste to the world. The faint entities, along with the, what am I thinking? The mortals and ancient dragons. Fight back. This causes a take situation. BK years. Yeah, man. What else? What else do I need to add on to that?
And then I guess we would just have to figure out. So in Shadowdark, it says the breach has been closed. So somehow, eventually, Azagul's pushed out.
Yes.
So we have to figure out how that happens. How is he defeated?
Yeah. I feel like I want that to be a battle within the Shadowdark world. Like, that's going to be a campaign that I'm going to create, and it's really going to be like, hey, you are going to splinter the timeline if you don't succeed. Like, you could fail, and then friggin' it just keeps going. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
Right? Yeah. So what I was thinking was, the mortals, or the faint divinities, mortals, and all that shit. And the ancient dragons. somehow they come together, and then that'll be the campaign on how they. That'll be a campaign on how they possibly push back as a goal and close the breach.
So, like, the first campaign in the timeline of Shadowdark would be that, like, pushing back Asgul, closing the breach.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's a Shadowdark system. Maybe it's a Daggerheart system because they're faint divinities. Like, if I'm going to play the angle of, like, all the players are faint divinities created by the Forgotten Gods and the New Gods, maybe we use the Daggerheart rules because you are pretty powerful at level 1. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's kind of like people are saying, like, at a level 1 Daggerheart, you're kind of like a 2.5 of D&D. So I'm just thinking, like, yeah, Daggerheart kind of system in the breach would work. We can definitely have, as far as the faint divinities, you know what I'm saying? As far as just regular heroes and shit, like, yeah, let's go with Daggerheart system. I think that'd be cool.
Okay. Because, I guess the question here does the breach era end with Azagul's defeat, or does Azagul's defeat happen in the beginning of the Shadowdark era? That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah. I would say the breach ends with it being closed and Azagul pulled back. Okay. And in the wake of that, dude, there's just so much destruction. There has to be a lot of rebuilding. Magic the breach is closed. And I don't know, like, maybe we can differ that from the astral plane. I don't know. Maybe during the breach, the astral plane's connection was damaged. Or, like, when they got pushed back, the astral plane's connection got damaged. So magic is quote unquote limited, and that would change. Yeah. That would explain why Shadow Dark magic system is different from the other two.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. That's because it's like, okay, you got to push him out the way he came in, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You slam the door, right? But it's gonna damage the connection. So people are gonna have to figure out how he got in. There's gonna be they're gonna what did you call them?
Breach is closed. This causes a connection error. Astral plane. Astral plane causing.
It's a lot of lag.
Yeah, causing magic to change. Causing magic just to change in general. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then Shadowdark happens after that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. Hope everyone at home is liking it as well. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content as much as we are. I like fucking spitballing and world building with someone else. It just feels cool, man.
It feels cool, man.
Cool, man. And if anyone at home wants to add some ideas, just shoot them out, man. Like, if you want to donate any ideas, suggestions, and stuff like that, we will definitely entertain and see if it fits. All right, cool. So we know how it happens. We know like what he looks like. What it looks like when it comes into the world and everything. It's gonna have like a bunch of like lieutenants, captains and shit like that coming in, and like I feel like within the first year, like most of the world is conquered, because it's not like oh man, did you hear about the breach? It opened the other day, and now a lot of stuff's coming through. It's like, no, dude, you don't have time to talk. Like the sky is turning black, shit is hitting the fan straight up, like very aggressive invasion, right? And it
has to be that way.
Yeah,
it has to be that way because you got caught with your pants down because you're in the middle of a civil war.
Yeah, exactly. So, pants are definitely on the floor, and it comes in, and just most of the world is conquered. And I will say, out of like the 3 maps, maybe it's just like one of the continents, maybe like the top one is what's left, and like that's the battlegrounds, like from top to bottom. Which let me bring up the map real quick. So hypothetically, this doesn't have to be concrete, but like the last bastion of hope and resistance is somewhere on this continent, spread out and stuff. And then all of this down here and this right here is just utter fucking nightmare land. Like, there are villages and people living, but it's more like, I think dwarves would be the main population of these down here because they're so good at burrowing and, well, not burrowing, but like, digging down, like
hiding out in the mountains and stuff. Like,
yeah. Like, it's almost a death sentence to go outside, especially at nighttime. But even during the daytime, it's super treacherous and dangerous. So most people live underground at this point.
Oh, and they rely on the dwarves for resources because the dwarves have all their underground networks.
Yeah. I like it.
Ooh, I like that. So actually, this could be a time where dwarves are actually really kind of making the best out of things.
Yeah, I was just about to say
it's not great for them, but like they're kind of flourishing on the back of a major bad event.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they are the backbone, the foundation of the resistance. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're able to get tunnels around. Like, obviously, these homes and tunnels and shit get destroyed. They get found out. There are going to be people who are in the cult, right? And they're just like, oh, we love you, blah, 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 blah. And, like, we're going to go pretend to be a refugee and go into these tunnels, and then we'll let you know where they are, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, because the cultists are gonna have little lackeys, dude. Cultists are gonna have little lackeys. If these people are screwed. If you promise them a place to stay and a hot meal every day, they'll do whatever the fuck you want, dude. Maybe their whole family's dead. You know what I mean? Like, they got nothing else. They don't want to die.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, you get to live. You just gotta help.
And so the I forgot what you called the god type folk.
The faint divinities.
The faint divinities, yeah. So like the faint divinities, I think one of their things that they would be doing during this time is like really building a network with the dwarves, and then trying to like find people who have survived and bring them into the fold, get them
rescue missions. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, rescue missions, like using the dwarves to help find people that have survived because they're trying to build their numbers back up so they can actually really make a push someday.
Yeah.
So they're gonna need people. And you're talking 3,000 years. So that's 3,000 years is enough time to like get multiple generations and get the races all kind of reestablished and put back together. And maybe, the underground kingdom that's formed is started by the dwarves. And then through the aid work of the heroes, it's like an underground road situation where it's like, let's get the people here. And then eventually there's like underground, there's like massive cities and kingdoms underground.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be crazy.
Oh, dude, and it's kind of like the Matrix, right? Where like they're fucking trying to hide out, but they can't make too much noise and shit like that because like sentinels will find them and shit, dude. Oh yeah, dude,
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. You can make some really cool underground dwarven cities. And like then the dwarves are like teaching other races because the dwarves need to survive too. And we can hide underground forever, but eventually that's not going to work out. If we allow the corruption to destroy the whole world above ground, you can't get everything underground. So they start teaching like other races like how to do stonework and how to smith like a dwarf and how to forge like a dwarf. So like all this like once really like well kept dwarven information about technology and how they live and how they do things, there's actually like a bit of a melting pot there because the dwarves aren't going to take a bunch of refugees if those refugees can't work.
Yes. Okay.
Because dwarves would, dwarves respect that hard work and that craftsmanship and that attitude towards life, so they're not just going to give people a place to stay and not teach them and put them to work.
Right. In some way, shape or form. Like, it's not going to be mining all the stuff like that. Maybe like clothes, like making clothes, shit like that.
Yeah.
How's all that works out down there? Maybe just being a courier in general. Like, you're not strong enough to do anything. Cool. You're going to be like a message person.
Oh, I think being a courier in a situation like this would actually be a really valued position.
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody were to roll a thief rogue class, but their backstory was that they were a courier and they got roped into some crazy shit like that, like couriers probably get paid well because their job is going to be extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
and it's extremely valuable. Especially during, well, yeah, Shadowdark, that would be after all that. But yeah, no, there's a lot of ways you can go with it, but
yeah. And I was like trying to think of so a couple things about the different types of dwarves, and then first though, the courier. I imagine like they're not gonna get essentially paid well in like gold. Like yeah, they'll get gold and stuff, but the main
they'll have a decent living.
Is that they are treated like royalty. They are given like really nice places to live temporarily, and then the clothing and everything. Like they are the athletes of the world. They're like the football players, right? So they get a lot of attention, a lot of recognition, and also just privilege to do what they're doing.
That's the allure to being a courier, because it's dangerous, but the allure is you're going to be working, you're going to be moving from place to place all the time. You get to see different places. You're not just stuck in the mines. You're not doing this. You've got a free meal and a hot meal and a place to sleep everywhere you go, because you're constantly working and you're just moving.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of prestigious. You roll into a tavern and they see your symbol that you're a courier, and people are going to buy you drinks and ask you to tell them what's going on in other places.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Like they're like really good bards, basically. Like they're part bards. Like they're telling stories of like what they've seen, like, basically like from the war zone, stuff like that. So people get a lot of their information is from couriers. So they are always swarmed, and people want to ask them questions and shit.
And then like, I guess like the most famous couriers would be the ones that like go to the surface and report back on the war, what's going on up top. Because that's like the most dangerous thing you can do. So they're looked at as like the badasses.
Yeah,
they'll get involved in combat and stuff like that, and then come back with stories and tell people the news, and things get written down into history through scribes. And
yeah, like over the course of a courier's life, he goes up in ranks, and like top rank is someone who goes outside.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun little way to go, because you can have really cool NPCs based on that.
Yeah,
you could have really cool player characters based on trying to do that, trying to become that.
Yes. Yeah, like that.
I think there's a really good NPC in there somewhere. Yeah. He's like kind of the guy that came up with the whole thing. Like first made it a thing to do.
Yeah.
Because there was a need, right? He's a smart man. He's like, you know what? The best way to a good life is to find a problem that's no one's solving and solve it. And that's to open up communication between all the different cities and villages and everything that's underground, and keep connection with topside so they can help each other.
Yeah, I like it. I wanted to touch on the dwarves. So I want to say like not every dwarf clan was good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like not all of them were like, hey, we need to take in refugees. Some of them just closed their gates and everything straight up.
Yep. And they might have to be convinced to take part, convincing them like, hey, if you just close your doors to everybody, I understand that you can't take people, but we need to all work together, help each other. Otherwise, everything's gone. I mean, of course that's going to happen in a time like this. Because dwarves are stubborn too. And if they already had a good thing going on and they're like, dude, we can hold out for 1,000 years down here. We don't care.
Yeah,
exactly. If they feel, they're going to be like, we can hold out, but as long as we don't have to take on any of you, we're set. Mm-hmm. We're stockpiled. We take very good inventory. We're set for like 1,000 years. This will probably blow over in 1,000 years. We'll just have a couple generations down here. No big deal.
Yeah. Go to the pub and wait for this whole thing to blow over.
Yeah. And the couriers are like, nah, dude, you really should listen to my report from the surface. And they're like, damn the surface.
Yeah, and I think
the surface is why this all happened in the first place. Those damn greedy dragons. And maybe some of these dwarf factions have beef with dragons because of this.
Yeah. And I feel like that's some of the couriers' jobs, like every once in a while, is to go to a dwarven kingdom, like in the beginning, and like with some people and be like, listen, we need to talk. Like, you need to do this. There, you don't understand what's going on out there, kind of stuff. So,
and they're like, we don't need to, bro.
Yeah.
We don't need to understand anything, dude. We're chilling.
Straight up big chilling. But all right. Is there anything else in the Breach era that we need to go over?
Not that I can think of right now. I think we've kind of enriched it quite a bit. I'm sure at some point I'll have a shower thought or a walk thought and, come up with something that we'll have to bounce around. And that's going to happen with all this anyway. But
Yeah, I gotta like reorganize this into something that's.
No, I like where we're at. I think the Breach has some personality now.
Yeah.
Not that it didn't before, not to say that it didn't, but like, you know, it was to me it was one of the eras that seemed the most vague. And now I'm like, okay, I can still see that there's life there. There's still something going on there. It's not just desolation.
Yeah. I like it. Also, real quick, one inspiration that I wanted to take from Vampire Hunter D is, you know, in that lore, the vampires married magic and science together and created abominations and stuff like that.
Right.
So I kind of want during this time, like cyborgs, androids, whatever you want to call them, to start kind of being a thing. And they're like super gross looking, you know, there's not something that like to blend in. It's like a killing machine marrying like magic and technology together. They're soulless beings, stuff like that. However, this type of like technology is something that is kind of dug up during the Daggerheart era, and that's where clanks come from. Is because they learned from Asgul,
like reverse engineering this stuff.
Yes, they reverse engineered it and were able to.
Or they could also be digging up and reverse engineering things. That's like, so maybe like dwarven artificers become a thing during this era because they're fighting these things, and so they're reverse engineering them to try to figure out how to fight them better. And then so like later in the Daggerheart era, not only are they digging up these abominations, but they're also digging up archaeological evidence of like this magic being used, these types of things being used by artificers in the past during the Breach to fight back. Maybe that's how they figure it out, is they figure out artificery and they use the same technology against them to help fight.
Yeah, could be.
Some Clone Wars, man.
Some Clone Wars. Yeah. All right. I think that's a good stopping point for tonight. Thank you, everyone who has hopped in here to watch us talk about this. This is just going to be a series that we do every Thursday, like 7:30 p.m. Eastern, where we are basically world building a world using the Daggerheart map and everything. And this is going to be the current time, the current, you know, era that you're all living in, right? But we're just filling in the timeline, the backstory of this world and how it got here. And like the other eras that we've been talking about, the map's going to be different. Like all these holes right here aren't going to be there. Like this is going to be like a more well-connected continent and shit. And just stuff like that. That's like what the main goal and plan is. So that way I can do a lot of prep work and stuff now and then be a lazy DM later. I have all this world and lore all made up, so. And then I can play Shadowdark, Daggerheart, and D&D in different eras. And that's the goal, what I'd like to do. So thank you for hopping in here. I look forward to any comments that you guys are going to leave, like any ideas, suggestions that you guys want to donate. I would, you know, love to hear them, because I would love to incorporate your guys' stuff into this and like be able to say like, yeah, these people helped create this world in some way or shape or form. I actually reached out to another YouTuber, and when we get to the Daggerheart era, I'm going to be using something for that. He's basically donating for that part.
Awesome.
So, yeah. But that's where we're going to end it. Thanks for sharing these moments with us. Yeah. If you want to watch a Daggerheart playthrough, go check out the Faint Divinities on YouTube. They're really good quality and everything. All the people seem like good people. Go check them out. And also Wither and Bloom Studios. They have played Daggerheart as well, but they also have their own D&D campaign. I will be releasing more episodes of our Lost Mine of Fandever campaign in the coming weeks. Editing that when I can and all that good stuff and posting it. Just know, like right now, like episode 4 just posted, and like I say in all the descriptions, the quality's a little rough, but it's been a great learning experience. And as you can see with this right here, the quality's pretty good. It's pretty decent. I like it.
Getting it up there.
Yeah. So you got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm just affirm that. I don't know if you can put a link or something to the channel so people can check out our campaign that's going on or not. But
yes,
yeah, if you're interested in a campaign that's actually taking part in this world that we're working on, fleshing out more, We do have a couple episodes of that on our shenanigans of how we are breaking Lost Mines of Phandelver. Like we're all level 6, and it's a nightmare. And other than that, if you have the opportunity to do something nice for somebody today, just take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. In regards to our campaign, man, they're level 2. One person has died. And yeah, it's not going the way the module usually goes. So, but it's great because it's really personal to all of us now because these characters have changed, the module so much. So I hope you guys get to go see it, check it out, play it in the background and such. Other than that, though, please take care of yourself and each other. I look forward to any comments that you guys leave below, and I look forward to seeing you guys here again next Thursday.
Hell yeah.
And with that, we will say goodbye.
See you later.
A good day, sir. Okay, bye.
Good day.